Hi, everybody. Welcome to a new edition of Let's Talk About Education with Antonio Corrales. We have heard about what does it mean to be an administrator at a higher ed institution. We have heard about being a top management. We have heard about being a dean. But what does it mean to be an associate dean at a college, specifically at a college of education? Well, today we have the honor to have with us Dr. John Pedro, who is the associate dean at the College of Education at the University of Houston, Clear Lake. Dr. Pedro, thank you so much for being with us today.
You're welcome. It's nice to talk to you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Why don't we start by letting you introduce yourself to the audience and kind of letting them know how do you get to where you are in your career right now?
Well, it's a long story, but I'll try to make it short. I have been in education for 49 years. I come from the islands of Trinidad and Tobago, and in those islands, we were very colonial. So you start teaching right out of high school before you get to go into teachers' college. So I started off at an early age as an assistant teacher, moving into teachers' college and becoming a full-fledged teacher, moving through the system, elementary ed, special education, and then into higher ed. So I have done a whole lot in terms of education at the various levels, ending up as an associate dean at UHCL. I spent 15 years at the University of Hartford, where I was the associate dean there for 10 years as well. So I have been in this role for at least 12 years. However, my journey has been first as an educator, teacher, and so I know the ramifications of the education field in terms of how you work with kids, how you work with children with special needs, how you work with high school students, and then moving on to teacher education. In my own country, I was a pioneer in bringing to the islands inclusive and special education, because we had what you call segregated special ed, where special education was taught only in special schools. However, as one of three pioneers, we got together with a foreign university and we were able to educate over 500 teachers. And I must say that education in that realm, special education, has become part and parcel of the education system in my own little country, in my island of Trinidad and Tobago, and in the Caribbean. However, coming to the United States, to do, first of all, my master's at the University of Miami. I did special ed and a bit of psychology. I returned home and I worked very hard within the system. So you can say I worked there for nearly 30 years before deciding to come back and complete a PhD at Virginia Tech. When I was done with that, I said, well, I'll go back to Trinidad and continue working in the field and ensuring that the education system is one of the best. However, I was advised that I had given so much to my country, I needed to stay in the United States. So I was encouraged by my advisor. She said, Joan, apply for some jobs, and I did, and I got all of them. I chose the University of Hartford, and I had a wonderful tenure there. It was a great time at that university. We had a wonderful president. The dean of the college was very proactive, and so we were able to move the College of Education, nursing and health professions along. But I decided that it was time for a change, and so here I am at the University of Houston, Clear Lake. I must say I've been here for the last 2 years. It has been a wonderful time for me, working with the faculty, the students, and the staff here. Has been a pleasure to work with.
That is fantastic. No, I know hearing your background and hearing all these things that you have done, one can tell that you are a teacher at heart, and utilizing that passion into the job of associate dean, because many of our viewers may wondering what does it mean to be an associate dean, in terms of the workload, in terms of the goals, in terms of professionalism. What does it mean for you, for somebody who may be watching at us right now, maybe a faculty member, maybe a doctoral student who may be watching us right now and is dreaming about furthering their careers in administration? in simple terms, what does it mean to be an associate dean?
I like,
You know?
I like the term you use, simple terms, because it is never simple. However, I believe it is what we would use the term servant leadership. I am here to serve the faculty, the staff, and the students. I am here to ensure the daily running of this College of Education goes smoothly. I am here to help solve the problems that arise. And there are many challenges in transitioning from one regime to another. Sometimes there are so many new changes that people become very disheartened. Sometimes disillusionment comes in. And so you have to keep everyone, I would use the word happy, but that I always say I practice the ethic of caring. And so when the faculty, staff, and students know that you genuinely care about their progress, they would then own the problems, own the issues, own the challenges, and we are able to get through them together. So being an associate dean here at this College of Education, and I am the only associate dean,
Which is important to clarify, because there are other colleges who have other deans, right?
Yes.
Other associate deans.
Well, there are in other universities, there are more than one associate dean. But I came here where I am the only associate dean, and I have many things to do, such as supervising the development of academic programs, leading the strategic planning and assessment efforts, overseeing program review, overseeing the accreditation process. I am actually the supervisor of 5 different departments. The Student Teaching Center, which we call the Center for the Professional Development of Teachers, the Center for Educational Program, the accreditation, the certification, and all of these offices come together to ensure that we are able to make the college look good in terms of its certification, in terms of accreditation. So that is how we have to work together as a team in this college to ensure that everything comes together for us to be nationally recognized as a distinctive college of education, as well as fulfilling the requirements for the Texas Education Agency, for the coordinating board, for SACS and all of these accreditors and certifiers that we have to be accountable to. So it's a big job in itself, but it is one that you cannot do alone. It is one that you have to have a team effort. So I am always working with my faculty in any form of program development. They are sitting with me. We are doing this together. I am also working with the support staff who, without them, we can't do much. So we need our support staff, and therefore I have to work with them. We have to have that collegiality, that collaborativeness, build those relationships, have that trust, so that we can all work together as a team to make sure that we look good as a college of education. I dare say I am here very early. I work very hard to ensure that all problems are solved. And there are challenges, but we have to work on them together.
What are the things, among all the things that you described, what are the things that you like the most about your job? What are the things or what is the scene that make you smile, within your job?
Well, I would say first and foremost, I love the people that I work with. And I'm not using that word superficially. I really do care about the people that I work with. And so working with faculty, staff, and students is a joy for me. However, you have the work has to get done. So the things that I like the most, which is often does not get done because of all the daily ramifications that come into play. But what I love is program development, working with my faculty to ensure that we develop the best and most distinctive programs, that we can put out the best teachers and the best educational leaders, the superintendents, the principals, the directors. We have such a wonderful name out there. I have only been at this college for 2 years, and I I have heard such great things about the College of Education. When I go out there and I visit with the donors and the community, I see that our alumni are in so many places of distinctions in the various districts. I feel so proud because we here, that is what excites me, and it helps me to work with the faculty because they are all working in tandem to put out the best people out into the districts and the region.
What about those tasks that you have to do, but you know may be challenging, or may make your life a little harder, but you know you have to get it done.
You have to get it done. It makes your life. You see all the administrivia, all the paperwork that we have to do, it's part and parcel of the job. So we might as well not cry about them, you just get them done. Also, conflict resolution in terms of working with faculty, working with staff, working with students. You know, there are many things that we have to share with them, that sometimes we have to find the right words, we have to find the right means of communicating so that we do this with respect for the other, and we are able to communicate whether it's an issue or a problem, that we are able to arrive at some solution to the problems that we face. So sometimes it can be challenging because you know we are all different people, Antonio,
Absolutely.
and some of us may take things personally. So this is how, you know, I try to practice that conflict resolution within the ethic of caring. So I try to do it in a way that is very respectful, but it can be challenging at times.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, expanding a little bit on that topic, there's the factor in higher ed, like in any other institution, the politics.
Yes.
And, politics can become a little, tedious to deal with. And so in higher ed, as an administrator, you deal with something that in other organizations, especially education organizations such as pre-K through 12, you don't have to deal with, which is the tenure factor.
Yes, yes.
As an administrator, how do you handle the tenure factor in faculty to get things done?
Well, again, I will emphasize that ethic of caring and that sense of ownership. Yes, tenure does give a faculty member that sense of security, that I am in and no one can do anything to me, I can do what I want and so on. But I dare say that I have not been faced with that challenge here at the College of Education. Every faculty, whether they are tenured or whether they are an assistant professor, whenever there is a task to be done, whenever there is an activity, whenever there is a function to be held, they are all willing, they are all receptive of the idea. And I believe it is because you work with them in such a way, you collaborate with them in such a way that they own it. They own the activity, they own the issue. They say, we can do this together. So the politics, yes, there is that politics, and there will always be. Antonio, I always say to myself, we will never get 100% of participation, but we will work with those people who will want to collaborate, want to build that relationship, and want to make us look good. And I dare say in the College of Education, we have many, many faculty like that. So even those with tenure, I have had to work with, and it has been a joy to work with them because they own the whatever it is we need to do and move forward. However, yes, the politics are ever present. Once very long ago when I was doing the PhD, I told a professor, in my own country I was asked to be a council person, and I said, I don't want to do that because I don't like politics. And he said, Joan, politics is ever present, even in your job. So you have to deal with the political ramifications. But what I say to my faculty and to my staff, do not let hearsay, do not let the talk on the hall, do not let gossip, because sometimes the administration may make a decision, but it is not yet communicated to the public at large, to the university. But people hear things, and then you have all of that happening, goings on, and people are, they are disillusioned, they get all worked up. And I would say, stop. Let us wait until we hear the official word, right? Before we can delve into the discussion.
Correct.
So it is important that within this political arena that we are able to navigate and we are able to have others understand. And I think that that is an important point to be made. When people understand whatever the problem is and the solution and why you are going to do what you want to do, also to get their feedback, because that is important. If we have what we call faculty governance, yes, we need to get feedback. We also need to get feedback from the staff. For example, I have been on the Mission, Vision, and Values Committee. I was the co-chair. We asked for feedback from everyone, the faculty, staff, student, alumni, and the community, because we could not do it alone. A small committee coming together and putting words together should get the feedback from the larger community. And so that is one way of dealing with the politics. When you have people owning the issues and the problems and helping in the solution. I tell people, when you come with a problem, come with a solution too. So that it is in some institution, I think it's a little more difficult in terms of people who have tenure. They do sometimes feel that I don't have to do certain things because of.
But I think what you're saying makes a lot of sense. That with good management styles, with a good approach in terms of effective approach in terms of explaining the rationale behind it, you can pass that as an administrator. The tenure factor becomes less important when you have clarity in regards to goals.
That's right. Very well said. Yes.
Now,
yes.
in your opinion, as a higher ed administrator, what are the biggest challenges that universities will be facing in the next years?
Well, the first thing is the cost of the university education, the affordability for many of our students, many of whom come from disadvantaged, backgrounds and so on. And so that is one of the major hurdles that students have to face to be able to access a college education. There is also increase in financial aid and all the regulations that go with it. You also have the cheaper approaches. There are so much alternative ways of being trained, especially in the vocational field, that people are seeing the value. There's less value in having a university degree than going and do a certificate in a particular vocational area. Because now, especially in Texas, and I suspect regionally and nationally, they are talking about the workforce. Preparing people for the workforce. And so that is another way, another thing that we in higher ed have to look at. We are now becoming a business because you have to prepare people for the workforce, so you have to provide the programs and the certificates and the courses that will help them to get into the workforce successfully. So that's another one. And so less value is being placed on a college degree at times. So we have to work harder at the higher ed institution to be able to say what value we have to offer and why it is important for our degrees, for you to get a degree from UHCL or from the College of Education, because it is distinctive, because it is a nationally recognized program, because we are giving you the knowledge, skills, and dispositions that will fit, make you a perfect fit in the area that you want to.
In the job market.
In the job market, yes.
That is very good. Now, all right, Dr. Pedro, to finish, what recommendation would you give to professionals in pre-K through 12, field, or faculty members in a community college, or faculty members at a university that are watching us right now, and they're looking at you as a role model, what steps would you recommend to take to become you in the future?
Well, I laugh when you say to become me. They have to be better than I am. The thing about it is that it has to do with your purpose. What is your purpose? Where do you want your life trajectory to be heading? What would you like to see within yourself for the future? So that's the first thing, your purpose. Do you have a plan in place? Is this something that you want to do? Because I know there are some people who don't like administration. People who like to be teachers and would be great teachers until they retire and so on, and they continue teaching in different forms. But if you would like to have to come into higher education, and especially to come into an administrative position such as an associate dean or dean, you need to continue your professional development. You need to not stop. You need to be able to go on. Like when I was teaching at the Teachers College in Trinidad, I would tell my students, when they get their college diplomas, I was like, this is just the beginning of your journey. And so they would go on to do an additional degree, a master's, and some of them even went on to do their PhDs. So the thing about it is that you have to develop your professional life. You have to develop your knowledge, your skills. You have to, try to gain the attributes that you will need to be able to assume positions in administration. You may have to learn about HR. You may have to learn other skills that are needed in the role that you will assume as an associate dean or dean. But I always say you have to be happy in the job that you choose. Because if you are not happy, you are not going to do a good job. Like I tell Antonio and I tell my secretary every day that I come in here, I am so happy to be working here because I love my job. I love what I do. I don't look at it as a job. I look at it as my vocation. I look at it that I am doing something to make a difference in the lives of the students that come into this college, to the faculty as well as the staff. So you have to define who you are, where you want to go, and then work on that in the different avenues to be able to build that strength, knowledge, inner strength as well, to be able to assume these positions.
That is fantastic. I want to thank you one more time, Dr. Pedro, for
You're
being with us
welcome.
today. Folks, remember that we have the interviews and many other in Antonio Corrales' YouTube channel. Let's talk about education with Antonio Corrales. Please help somebody today and see you next time.
Thank you.